You're listening to the Things of That Nature podcast. Coming to you from Denver, the Mile High City, is me, your host, Rockshana. I invite you to join me for truly honest, passionate, and fun talks that motivate, invigorate, and maybe inspire. When you're ready in the Mile High, the sky's the limit. Everything and anything goes. So let's start talking about things of that nature. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Things of That Nature podcast. I'm your host, Rockshana, and today I have a fellow mile higher. I'm going to say mile higher because that's just kind of what's coming out. So a fellow mile higher, Tammy Guns. Hi Tammy, how's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. It's been a good day so far. So Tammy, did throughout schooling and such and your friends, do they make like quirks out of your last name being Guns?
Yes, actually, yes. Well, a lot of people, they wonder if, the name Guns is, actually a real name or not. In fact, people don't want to even spell it as Guns, which is G-U-N-S. They want a lot of times think it's G-U-N-F or something like that. They won't believe that my name is actually Guns.
Oh, wow. I think it's pretty cool.
Oh, thank you. Or they make fun, like, oh, are you going to shoot me? And things like that. I'm like, oh, no, it just happens to be my last name. In fact, I went over to Europe last year. I went over to Belgium because my family is from there. And for a long time, I wasn't sure if that when people came to Ellis Island, you know how they would change people's last names or they would drop part of it.
Right.
And no, I actually found my real relatives and their last name truly is G-U-N-S. No, nothing different than Guns.
Oh, no change there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I learned that.
They're like, I'm proud. We're keeping it no matter what. So, Tammy, you're a motivational speaker. Where did that come from?
Well, so it kind of grew organically in that I was working in corporate America, specifically for, very large healthcare systems. And I was just kind of tapped, I guess, to, start doing presentations. I did a lot of presentations, within my job to like board of directors for different hospitals. I would do a lot of presentations to the C-suite. And then I was just asked to do things like, can you speak on integrity or can you speak on success, things like that. And so it just kind of grew organically through my work.
Oh, that's neat. I love happy accidents.
Yeah, that actually is kind of how it happened. And so, but now I do, international speaking. I've been around the world, doing speaking most recently in Rome, Italy. And I love it. It actually makes me feel very alive when I'm speaking to others because I want to be able to bring value. I want to be able to bring something to help, make people's lives better.
Okay. And when you speak, do you speak on like a requested topic or do you just kind of pick out of your hat of many things?
That's a good question. So when I'm asked, sometimes people will find me. There's different ways that I end up speaking at events. Sometimes I will be pinged, like I've done a TEDx talk on why the best healthcare system starts with you. And so I've gotten different people asking me to speak on that subject. Although sometimes they just want me to speak, and I'll speak on moving through change or leadership. But the two subjects that, if I have the ability to choose, it would be on, certainly the healthcare component, as well as I teach people how money works. Those are the two things I like to speak on. You'd think they might be polar opposites, but actually they're not.
I was just going to say that. A lot of money goes into healthcare these days.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. But with the recent COVID-19, there, of course, there's a lot going on within the world, but there's two things that I really learned, and I think a lot of people learned that came to the forefront, is that there were two areas where people were ill prepared. One was being their health. Unfortunately, those people that had more trouble or succumb to the COVID-19, usually had underlying health conditions. In fact, they said the average was 3 underlying health conditions, those people that ended up unfortunately, dying from COVID-19. And then the other glaring problem was that many people abruptly lost their jobs overnight or had reduced hours at work, and people were not prepared financially. And so they were in panic mode, waiting for stimulus checks, in panic mode, waiting for unemployment to go into effect, because they literally didn't have any money in savings to be able to pay their rent, to pay, their mortgage or their car payment. So those things came to light when people, thought they were fine because they thought they could always work, but things changed abruptly overnight.
Mm-hmm. I would say yes. A lot of people I know and around definitely did face one of the two. More of, I guess, of my generational friends and such. It's more of a, oh crap, I thought I was going to work. Now I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
What do
Well,
I
right.
do?
Exactly. And so people just need to be able to, for those people that were set up financially and had an emergency fund, I mean, not, of course you don't want that to run out, but at least they were able to cover the gap until they could, pivot or different situations came about. And again, yes, you're right. I mean, the younger generation, unless people had underlying health conditions, they were not necessarily those that were, negatively impacted by COVID-19 themselves. I mean, they could have certainly had somebody they love get it. But so
Mm-hmm.
those are the areas where, I always say, like, health is really our first wealth. Without your good health, you really don't have anything. And so certainly being prepared for that. But then, of course, they're intertwined because, they are predicting, unfortunately, that there will be a lot of people, because they lost their jobs or, had a severe reduction in their income, that will, there's a huge amount of stress, and that impacts their lives. And, it could end up leading to, mental illness, or depression, things like that. So they're very, very intertwined, our health as far as, and also our wealth.
Right. Now, when you speak about health and wealth, well, actually, let me go back. So I've been to a couple of different health and wealth seminars, similar to yours, what I'm getting from you, that you do yours. But then, of course, they reel you in because if you're a motivational speaker, that's you have a message to share. And then towards the end, they start passing out these like pamphlets of healthcare companies that they're working with, or there's money systems where it's one of those get rich or styles like that. Is yours wrapped in or connected with any branded specific health insurance or health something, or hey, this is a good investment of this, you should go and pay $100 to this thing and start it, type of scenarios?
So, yes and no. So, first of all, what I really teach people about is, how we make a multitude of seemingly insignificant decisions every single day of our life, and we don't realize that they add up over time. And so, my message really is to be able to help people. When I did my TEDx talk on why the best healthcare system starts with you, I used an analogy of that we can also have, even as adults, have the teenage brain when it comes to making a lot of decisions. And when you look at the teenage brain, the teenager is very concerned only about what's right in front of them, what's fun for the moment. This would be great to do. And they really don't think about the long-term repercussions of the decisions they make. However, on some level, it's really not their fault, because when we understand, the development of teenagers, their frontal lobe is not completely developed, which is their higher order thinking skills. So you can understand why teenagers will make decisions that seem great in the moment, but might not be great long term. Well, I would say that we as adults also have the teenage brain, because we make a multitude of seemingly insignificant decisions every single day of our lives that add up over a lifetime, in that it's only one cigarette, it's only one drink, it's only one brownie. And those decisions in and of themselves are really not that significant. It's just that over time they add up. So I have worked in the healthcare field for over 25 years. And I also combine in the healthcare field, I'm not a clinical person, but I have a master's degree in accounting and a master's degree in health service administration. So again, that's where my two health and wealth things are intertwined. And so no, I really want people to start looking at their lives in a different manner. And no, I'm not associated with any healthcare company at all. I'm not handing out pamphlets to try to get somebody to sign up for this particular health insurance or something like that. I'm really having people examine their own lives with the teaching people how money works. Again, I'm there to provide a message. In fact, if any of your listeners want a copy, I have a copy of a book. It's not my book, but it's something that I give out to people. It's called How Money Works. And it's really a simple, easy read. You know, you can read it in about an hour and a half, and it teaches people things that we never were taught in school about how money works, so that people don't get themselves into a situation where they have no savings or they're not prepared for things like, say, you know, an abrupt loss of income.
Okay, neat. It's good to hear that you're not just trying to give a message and then, hey, actually sell this so I can get some commission off of it.
No, I hear you, because there's a lot of that going on. In fact, when I do speaking from the stage, you know, a lot of companies that hire you to do those presentations want to make sure you're really there for a good message and to help their audience, versus, you know, 5 minutes in, you can tell they're already trying to, you know, subliminally, you know, sell you something. You know, it's coming at the end. It's the whole thing is really a marketing pitch, and to me, that's not really being authentic. Yes, you know, if people end up working with me, I have lots of clients I work with. They don't get charged any particular commission. If they were to invest in some of the things that I could recommend them to, yes, I would get a commission from that, but that's not my intent. I mean, I'm happy to hand out a book to somebody, and if they, you know, never call me, that's fine, because the world is all about kind of paying it forward and doing what's right, because I really believe in the law of divine compensation, in that when you put out really good to the world, it comes back to you.
Yes, I believe in that too. You put out good and it comes right back to you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's good to hear. So I saw one of your talks, and not to spoil your entire talk, but I was very intrigued. And it's how to understand the secret difference between those who fail and those who succeed. So without giving away your entire talk, because I'm pretty sure it's much more enticing in person, how do you understand the difference without giving away too much?
Without giving, well, so here's the difference. I really believe that you are either winning or you're learning. It's not like you are winning or you are losing, because our lives have this constant feedback loop. And so the people who quote unquote fail, I mean, if you want to use that term, it's because they stop, right? Like if you get knocked down 100 times, as long as you get up 101 times, you're going to be able to succeed. It's just that, you know, life is full of all sorts of twists and turns. It's not this, you know, perfect little box with a beautiful bow on it. Life can be quite messy, but the people who will continue to always move forward, always take action when something doesn't, you know, I'm like, I thought for sure if I took path A, this was going to be my path to gold. Well, no, maybe it isn't. It doesn't mean you failed. It just means you learned some information such that that's not the path. Now you need to do something else. In fact, Thomas Edison, a lot of people don't realize this, that he was the one who came up with the incandescent light bulb. And maybe people do know that, but they don't realize that it took him, Thomas Edison, over 10,000 tries before he came up with the proper filament for the incandescent light bulb. And when Thomas Edison was interviewed about that, he said, well, I didn't fail 10,000 times. He said, I just found 10,000 ways that didn't work. So that's kind of what it is. It's like if you keep going, if you have your end goal in mind, and then you look at the information as I'm either winning, this is helping me, or I'm learning, and now I need to pivot and move in a different direction.
All right. Sounds good. And when I saw that, I was like, ooh, that's really intriguing. I want to sit in a room and hear that. I'll take it. So you had a period in your life where it kind of felt like everything was hitting